What's up cinephiles, welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we'll be talking about a new French action flick called Sentinelle, directed by Julien Leclercq. The movie stars Olga Kurylenko, who you might have known as one of the leading ladies of James Bond in the 007 movie Quantum of Solace. So in here, she stars her first action-led movie, I think. And in here, she plays Clara. She's a highly trained French soldier who uses her particular set of skills to get back to the man who hurt her sister. Now, before I continue with this review, why don't you guys please show your support to the channel by hitting that like button and subscribe to us for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. We just hit 1,000 subscribers and our next goal is to hit 2,000. So please guys, help us on reaching that goal. Okay, now back to the review. This is a vigilante film, another revenge-infused type of film, and honestly, this is one of the more popular themes or concepts in the action movie genre. So if you've seen movies like Taken, The Equalizer, and honestly a bunch of movies under the filmography of Liam Neeson, so you can expect nothing more and nothing less from this movie, because this one pretty much fits into the vein of that subgenre when it comes to having the police hands are all tied up and the perpetrator here are kind of elusive because of their highly regarded wealth and status. And Clara here will do whatever it takes to make sure that justice will be served. This movie is much somber and much grittier compared to Taken, because we're dealing here themes about PTSD, and right from the get-go you can see that in the first opening 6 minutes or so, where the movie takes us in the Middle East. There's a traumatic mission here which is gorgeously shot. After that traumatic mission, she gets reassigned into this called Project Sentinelle, and basically the objective of this Project Sentinelle is to patrol on the areas which are susceptible to attacks of terrorism. It involves a lot of surveying in public spaces, and honestly it won't really require much of a work. And for Clara here, she thinks that her current status here is somewhat of a downgrade from her previous work. But it gets interesting because once you've seen this character trying to readjust to the normal life, because she's the type of person who has gone through a lot of trauma, and in here, once she's set back into her supposed normal life, a lot of things will trigger her, like that simple bag that was left unattended that will tick her mind off that there might be a bomb inside. So the movie goes into minimum dialogues in its first 30 minutes, and it's more about establishing the mental state of this character. And in that initial setup, I think the movie lays a strong foundation of what this character's harboring, all the pain, without saying much. Olga here, I think she delivered a great performance here despite having little script to work on. She really displays the emotions. We're talking about here stifled emotions of grief, anguish, and restlessness in general. And this character has a lot of introspective moments, a lot of lingering silences for us to draw in. And I think Olga here is the one that draws the audiences in. So the actual conflict of this movie will actually kick in about 30 minutes, which feels odd because there's just less than an hour left for this movie. That being said, when the actual conflict kicks off, the movie kind of falls into the path of cliche action plot beats. Not that it's bad, but you know, just because I was slightly disappointed because I thought this is something new that they're doing. And you know, for the most part, Olga really carries the film, and literally because the supporting cast here are mostly on minimum roles, they're mostly used as plot devices. And honestly, for me, that is not a bad approach because we're talking about a stripped down character study. The movie does not make any fuss about unnecessary subplots. The movie only focuses on its main character, and that's actually good. Though at some times I felt like the movie could have used a solid supporting character that's fleshed out just to complement the character here of Clara and to see a different side to her. When it comes to the action choreography, the action here is pretty sparse, I would say, and a bit few and far from between. So don't expect something kinetic and frenetic like the John Wick or Atomic Blonde here. The way they stage the action choreography here, it's a bit messy to appeal to its realistic quality. And for me, I'm fine with that. But for those who are looking for that high octane action, non-stop action, and you know, balls to the wall type of action, I don't think this is the movie that's right for you, because it's mostly hampered down by its somber and gloomy tone. You know, keeping the action as minimum as possible for an action movie. And honestly, for a mainstream audience, I don't think that is the best approach for that type of genre. It almost feels like I want the movie to become a drama thriller instead, because it won't really commit to its adrenaline for an action movie. You want your audiences to be stimulated, and when those action beats come, they don't really last long enough. So I think that's the biggest downside of the movie, because this movie for the most part has its ingredients to make up for a really inviting action thriller movie, but you know, it kind of fell short just because of the way that they chose to direct this. On a technical note, I think they've succeeded on what they're out to do here. They've done some action stunts, broke some bones, they have a layered character here which is compelling. However, I don't think that the script is long enough to appeal to the themes of the movie and bring out something new to the exploration of PTSD. So overall, in giving my final rating for this movie, I find it actually a bit tricky, because I wouldn't consider this movie as a bad film per se, though the direction, I find it underwhelming, though I won't be surprised if it works out for some. And just because we have a lot of action thrillers lately that are getting more creative when it comes to introducing their premise, their setups, and this one in particular, I don't think it steps outside much of the box. When it comes to their runtime of 80 minutes, I think that's already perfect enough for the movie not to overstay its welcome, because there's some flaws in the narrative, but you know, it doesn't get highlighted because you don't get to linger much on them. And when I'm talking about flaws, I'm talking about the questionable character decisions here made by the protagonist. The movie kind of justifies those actions just because she's experiencing PTSD issues. So yeah, I think this movie starts off in a relatively strong note, then it kind of ended on a cliche note which kind of left me disappointed. The ending, I don't think it particularly worked for me, because there's a time jump there that is clearly done to tie the loose ends of the movie, and when it comes to that, there are a lot of assumptions that's required, and with those assumptions, it kind of feels unconvincing at times. So I'm going to settle with a 2 out of 5 stars for this one. And that's it for my review of the Netflix French action flick Sentinelle. Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like button and subscribe to us for our weekly content. Thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, see you on the next one.